it's time to attach our pieces together, so I search for some buckles references, belt buckles references, and go with this design, which is very simple. I start with a plane, cut it into half, and then press the I key for inset, and I will use individual, so that each face will have an inset. Then I can get rid of the center faces and extrude this. This will be the base of our belt buckle. I can add some loop cuts all around to be able to then deform it, giving it a V shape by pushing the center part a little down, so that we can think of the laser going up and down into the buckles. And then I will just bevel all of this. I can then press Ctrl 2 to add a subsurf modifier, and then I will dig the center part, so I will make a loop cut, bevel it, then scale down the center part and make some cuts and extrusion to get a shrinked part in the middle. Once it is defined, I can bevel those new edges, Ctrl B again with 3 cuts. Then I will add a center part. So I'm just selecting this loop and duplicate it, scale it up. I will get rid of unneeded edges to keep it as simple as possible, while I will be extruding the pointy parts that goes through the leather. Once I've made those few extrusion and I'm happy with the base shape, I will select everything and bevel everything. And that should look okay. So I will make some refinement, nothing too fancy, so that it looks better. And then we will inset some leather into it, and we'll use this on almost every part of the armor. I will create the laser part as a separate mesh because I want to use the solidify modifier. And the problem with the solidify modifier, even if you can drive the thickness of the modifier and influence using vertex group, you can't cancel it by, for example, removing some vertices from the vertex group that is used by the solidify modifier. The object will still have a thickness, and if it has a thickness of 0, you will have clipping faces, and that will look horrible. So whenever you want to use the solidify modifier on part of a character or whatever, you need to separate the current mesh from any other parts that you don't want to be affected by the solidify modifier. So for the time being, I'm just extruding some vertices straightforward to create this little leathery part, using the subsurf modifier to see how the curve are going on. And then I will dig some holes. So I create loop cut, and then I use the bevel very oftenly to get even patterns on my meshes. So that's a good technique to rapidly create those holes, and then I will just extend it a bit and add an additional hole here so that it looks more interesting. Then I can extrude everything or solidify it by pressing Ctrl F, clicking solidify, which will make an extrusion on the whole surface following the normals. Then I just need to bevel everything, and that's it. I will create a second mesh of leather, and I will add some supporting loop to those holes, and that should be good. So I got rid of the thickness of the object because I want to use a solidify modifier, so this was useless, and also to make editing easier. So while I was talking before, I've forgotten that I've made this little mistake. So keep it flat like this, very easy to edit, and then add your solidify modifier and eventually a bevel modifier if you want to have harder edges. I can then create the second part of the laser, which is attached to the laser buckle. So it's the same thing. I've just duplicated one section, let's say, of the previously made laser part, so that I have the right length, and then I will just extrude it around the center piece and make it going downward, and so that it looks like we have this kind of laser part wrapped around our metal piece. Once I'll be done with this, I will make a copy and I will move it on another layer so that I have some backup. And then each time I will copy it, I will be using local manipulators, because as I modeled this oriented in XYZ in classical way, it will be really easy to orient them into the 3D viewport while I'm working. So I won't be applying rotation and location. Maybe I will apply the scale, I don't remember, so that the solidify modifier won't get buggy, but you will have to revise it as it is size based. The thickness is size based, so if you divide by 10 the size of your object and apply the scale, you will have to divide by 10 the thickness of the solidify modifier. So I will be duplicating it, moving it on another layer, and now you can see I'm using local widget, local transformation widget. That's really easy for me to scale them, move them in the right place, rotate them, and also I will be able to edit this mesh, keeping those local manipulators whenever I want to extend some part of the laser, for example. So it will make edit mode in such parts really easier for me. Now, as you may have guessed, I will be doing this for a little while, so I will speed up a little bit the video, put some nice music, and let you with this time lapse.